Hello, I'm Stephen Foskett, and we are here in San Francisco, California for Cloud Field Day. We're at the offices of Scality, and we've invited in a group of independent writers, speakers, podcasters, and so on to learn about their technology, to interact during the presentation, and to ask questions that represent the audience outside. If you'd like to learn more about Tech Field Day, go to techfieldday.com. You can learn how to become a delegate like the folks around the table or a presenter like Scality. If you'd like to see more videos like this, just go to youtube.com/techfieldday.
So, hello, I'm Giorgio Eni, the CTO and one of the founders of Scality, and we're going to talk about our open source S3 server. So it's actually the same code that we use for the Scality Ring S3 connector, that's isolated and open source, as we welcome contributions for our customer from other people to add features to the S3 API or maybe add different backends. So it actually needs a backend for metadata, so the buckets. It needs a backend for the actual content, the object. So on the open source version, we use Docker volumes as backends. So the metadata is a level DB on top of a Docker volume, and the data itself goes directly to a Docker volume. Meaning that if you want to test on your machine, a Docker volume is just a folder on your machine. So it's open source under Apache 2.0 license, so anybody can use it. We've written it in Node. It's a single instance, so it's not a distributed system in the open source version. It's just one instance that you can start. Volumes for persistent storage, and exact same code that in our own S3 interface. So how did we come to build this team and to develop this? So it was our first exposure to Node was we had a deadline to develop a very demanding POC for a cable operator, where we had to basically be a TiVo in the cloud for them. So people will we decide to record a certain show, and we will store it in the object store. And that's a massive amount of volume. There's so many people recording. It was a huge amount of volume. We actually had only a month to develop it. We were able to get 2 months, but it was a very short period of time. And the Ring was the perfect backend for it, but we actually needed a special connector to be able to plug into the video application. And so we decided to develop it in a Node just because we didn't have time to develop it in other way. And what happened is we actually developed on time and we got the performance we wanted. So the solution had to take a video feed and make multiple copies in the backend. So for example, has some frames for a 2-second fragment for that TV channel. And please do 10,000 copies in the backend because 10,000 users have been asking for that show. So to be able to do that efficiently, you cannot expand on the network because you would need a terabytes per second on the network. So we would actually copy the data to the storage node and then expand it on the storage nodes themselves. So now you're looking at the PCI Express bus as opposed to the Ethernet bus. So you get much more performance. So we did complete that on time, and we were amazed at the performance we got from the Node.js development. So then Vianney led a hackathon in Paris where we went to École 42. It's a school that's very special where you don't need to have a diploma to enter that school. And you don't have teachers. It's all fully automated. And they're trying to give a chance to everybody to become a software engineer. And so we went to that school. We actually have a version now.
They have it here now?
Yes, we just opened here. Yeah. So we're going to do another hackathon with them. And so we actually took 30 students and had them work on a new version of our S3 interface. We don't keep the code, we just wanted to give them an exercise that made sense for us. And at the end of it, we hired 8 people on the hackathon. Then we took 8 people from our existing development team as a 1-to-1 pairing, and we started working on this new S3 interface. Right? So the team is here, split between San Francisco and Paris. And so this was an experiment that worked pretty well, because all this demo we did, the new S3 connector, has been built in less than 1 year by that team. Right? And so the open source version basically gives you an S3 instance in 5 minutes. So if you are a developer and you want to quickly code an application on top of S3, you don't want to go to Amazon, create an account, give your credit card, you can just start it on your machine. If you're developing on a plane, For example, you don't have internal access, you just start a Docker instance, you have it running on your machine. We also target enterprises in their own testing environment. So for CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous development, they can use something like that to get going. And it's an easy way to learn about object storage. So one thing is we have open source competition. And the hardest part of it is more about when you come into an account, some people already had exposure to open source product, and so you're fighting the existing exposure they had. What we're trying to do here is to get there in advance. So they can download our stuff, start playing with it, and then if they like it, they can call us back, or if they don't like it, they move on. But that's kind of make it easier and faster. Actually helps a lot with our partners as well. So for example, and Yannick was a part of that, we have a lot of gateways or S3 product that just downloaded our image, started on their own environment, and were able to test our S3 interface. If it works, it's guaranteed to work on the ring itself because it's the same API, it's the same code. We can also support deployment of the S3 server if you pay a support fee, and it's going to be on one machine. And when it becomes big enough, you'll be able to upgrade seamlessly to a distributed system with the ring. So the way to install it, so we rely on Docker to start it easily. There's a Docker toolbox. I think it's changed name again. It keeps changing name. There's a package you can download on your machine that sets up everything for you in terms of Docker. And you have a UI called Kitematic to start a container. So what I'm going to do is start a container from Kitematic, start my own S3 object store on my laptop, and see with CyberDuck if I can access the data. So let's go. So launch Kitematic, pull, start. Let's go. So Kitematic is this UI that gives you access to the Docker Hub. So I'm going to do a search. Oh, it was already there. Scality S3. Cannot find image. Nice. What is it? The Wi-Fi problem or something? Let me exit and start again. Yeah. Now it's a public image. Why will you not find the image? But let me log in, maybe. It's here. No, it's actually S3 server here. So we opened it a month ago, a month and a half, I think, and we already got 1,000 downloads and a lot of interaction on the GitHub pages. So this is getting more traction than I thought. So you see the 1K here. So I'm going to create the image, meaning that it's going to download it. So I actually download it before the demo because it can take a few minutes to download the image. So what that did is take the image, the container, start it on my machine, and it's already running now. So I have a private S3 instance on my laptop. So I need to go to settings and know what port is listing on. So it's listing on port 32769. So I go to my CyberDuck, which is this standard S3 client. I'm just going to change the port number. Because each time you start it, you get a different port with Kitematic. So that's the new port. I double click. So what if we have a bad demo effect today?
It's our fault.
I'm sure it's
It would be
it's your
Karen's
fault.
fault, I'm sure. Karen's luck.
We need to know whose fault it is.
It would be mine. Karen's demo stories.
I
Karen's.
think it was a copy-paste issue. So this is my namespace. There's nothing in there because I just started. So I'm going to create a bucket. Let's create CFD. That's my new bucket. So if I look at the Docker container output, This is all the operation that CyberDuck made. So get slash is to list all the buckets, and then there's a put to create the bucket itself, slash CFD. And so that's very simple. So I just take an image, copy it in there, and I can preview it from CyberDuck. So this is a Burning Man image. And so this is your own S3 service, right? So you can use any S3 command line tool, UI, gateway, and we use it for partners that test very complex application. Can just use that in 2 clicks, get an S3 service.
Going back to what you guys are driving towards of combining file and object, eventually will I be able to use this
absolutely.
And run it and see what's on my file system through the S3 object store?
Yeah, both file and object eventually.
Okay.
That's it. And so we see a lot of traction of people who just want to use it for their own test, to be able to easily spawn, like with Jenkins or any other testing suite, easily spawn an S3 instance.
So that's the use case then. For it, the open source S3 server is aimed at the developer to have an S3 compatible interface right there on their laptop.
Yes, and we've seen a few usage of people who just want to have an S3 at home.
Yeah, okay. But that's like the outliers, I'm assuming.
But the most is developers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You think companies might want to use this as far as instead of using the ring, right, to use that to front some old storage they might have?
Yeah, but this is not distributed. So if somebody has a need that's below 100 terabyte, it makes perfect sense. And it's not competing with us because we start at much higher capacities.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you start at?
Typically, it's going to be, 500 terabyte.
Minimum license is 200, but
Yeah.
sweet spot is around 5 to 1 petabyte.
Okay. And do you license based on is it per terabyte license?
So the license is based on usable storage.
Okay.
And on top of that, you will have erasure coding and replication. So you will need an amount of raw storage for that.
Correct.
But we don't license any connectors, anything like that.
Okay.
It's really based on
So
the
it's purely,
capacity.
and not based on node number of nodes, anything like that?
No, not at all.
No, it's
Okay.
okay.
But you're not selling the hardware at all, really?
No,
No.
not.
Just selling the software.
So the customer can use 1 terabyte drive, 10 terabyte drives, it doesn't matter.
You guys at any point be offering any kind of data services with this compression or?
Not really, because we focus on structured content, and most of it is already compressed.
Sure.
Like a JPEG image,
Yep.
there's nothing to compress. An MP4 video, there's nothing really to compress.
Or dedupe. I mean, I don't know if you can do that, if that's just block or not. I don't know if.
We don't really see the need. So there was one customer requesting dedupe. We did some calculation on the data itself, and there wasn't
Okay.
a lot of gain to be made.
Right.
Because it has an overhead too, right?
Yeah.
So the gain was very small.
Okay.
When we do backups, dedupe is done at the backup layer. So we work with Commvault, with Symantec Net Backup, and they do the dedupe. So there's no need for us to dedupe again. Right?
Okay.
Okay. And you can download it at s3.scality.com.